CLNV is still sitting within our support range that we talked about just a few days ago. Let's go ahead and find out what could happen for the following sessions. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a CLNV technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this fine Wednesday hump day. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCab. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so we're looking at CLNV on the 8-hour chart here. Okay, so there are a few notes that I actually took here that I wanted to share with you. So I actually was starting to get curious over the wavelengths here. So starting from the beginning of the ascending wedge, right from the genesis of it, I wanted to take a metric and see just how long it took to get to the first wave, right, to wave number one. So you can see here it took about 23 days. So now the second iteration from wave 1 to wave 2 took 26 days. Now from the second wave to the high of this wave down here, we actually took 23 days as well, just like this iteration here. Now, if we were to imply that 23 days from our current position, I guess if it would be starting around here, there's a weekend in the way, right? But if we would be starting from here, then we can only imply that our wave number 3 would actually end up on about Tuesday. You can see the dates right down here. You can see that we would land on about Tuesday, January 17th, if it is that we're following in that manner, right? But if we were to count this wave to this wave as its own wave, then we have a weird 14-day iteration, and then from there we would actually have to count the additional 23-day iteration that we've been doing, and then in that case it would put us to about January 27th. However, I'm not really counting that as that case, is because this may very well be the entire the entire wave here, so we can create that upside. But this is fairly, I mean, this is a lot of upside for a very little amount of time, right? So you're talking about, I mean, we're on the 11th right now, so 6 days to get to this is a little pushy. It's a little aggressive, and I'm not sure that we can do that, and I wouldn't even bet on it. Okay, but let's go. The good thing is that we're still respecting our support levels, and we're still moving accordingly, right? So there are additional bottom side supports down here. Okay, so particular to these candle iterations, we can actually see that essentially there's a support bottom down here at about about 3 cents 38, right? To be very precise, is 0389. So yeah, let's go ahead and now move on to the next chart. Okay, so as I do have another thing to talk about here. So this is I did mention before that we were looking at a rising wedge, right? So if we're talking about a rising wedge in particular, okay, let's just go ahead and highlight this one. Okay, so if we're talking about a rising wedge, this has a downside target, right? And that target can actually be acquired from the supposed breakout point, right? So if we were to, let's just say that if we were to break out from this, there's still, let's see, there's still, oh wow, yeah, there's still some time to finish this 2-day iteration. There's still 17 hours and 12 minutes to finish this bi-daily. So if we were to imply that we were going to break out from that point, we can actually take a trend line from the top of the triangle to the bottom of the triangle and apply it to that area there. Okay, so if we were to imply that we were going to break out from this 2-day iteration, you can actually see that we would land right at the support line of this, and in conjunction to these 3 candles making a series of higher lows, 2 candles, sorry, making a series of higher lows. Okay, so but what does that mean exactly? So it would mean that we are respecting geometry in a sense, right? So let's go ahead and dim our ascending wedge, or rising wedge, sorry. And now let's take a look at this formation here, because this is another formation, and it's typically a bullish one, okay? So this formation is called a pennant, and they usually do happen when, during an upside. So it's definitely a possibility. So if our rising wedge within our pennant actually succeeds, then we would then see a touch of about it says about, let's see, 3 cents, right? So 0371, which is very similar to what we were looking at right over here. So it's about 3.8 there, right? Or let's see, 03 0384. So it's very similar to that. Okay, now I'm just bringing up some areas of confluence here so that you can see, right? So now, aside from that, we do have the Knot 786 at 3449, right? And we also at 0349, sorry. And then we also have our support range from the newly converted resistance into support of the descending channel that we're currently riding on. And also it is on upon test number 4. So if we need to come back and test that as again as a viable area of support before a continuation onto the upside, then so be it. It's still fine. The play is still moving along. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next chart. Okay, so now if this is that stupid cup and handle, right? They don't have the greatest hit rate in the world, but it does have some confluence with the upside targets that we would be looking at essentially in the future. So if this is a daily ascending broadening wedge, right? And the curious thing is that if we were to capitulate all the way to the bottom of this wedge, we're also getting a similar target of about see, the target is located right over here. So please take a look at that right side. Okay, so you're looking at about 0341. So again, it's very similar to the bottom side of this thing over here at about 038 something, and then also the bottom side of our pennant, which would be about 0366. But then our actual support from the broadening from the descending channel, that bottom side support is 034, 0339. So there is a lot rhyming within this area down here. That doesn't mean that it's going to be done forever. I'm just saying that we're riding a bullish pennant here. So the pennant does have its upside trajectory as well. Okay, so this is very curious stuff that we're implying that we could essentially make that move to the upside still. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next chart. So this is the statistical side of the analysis, and we are looking at the 3-day chart here. And this is volatility that you're looking at, represented by this indicator BBWP. Please do keep in mind that volatility is direction neutral, and we tend to pair it with a momentum indicator. Okay, so in this case, the momentum based indicator that we chose is stochastic momentum, which is proprietary to TradingView software, and actually I've been accepted into their affiliate program. So please, if you do decide in starting a TradingView account, it would certainly help if you click the link in the description below. And yeah, you guys, so now in particular to this back test that I have performed by hand, there are not many iterations, not as many as I would like there to be for a good read, but I have taken note of every single time that volatility has reached the critical percentile, which I consider to be anything within the 90 percentile, and started a contraction phase towards the downside, particular to volatility, alongside momentum making an upside. Okay, so as you can see, we are still suggesting a continuation to the upside, and we're still contracting. So this is still that means that the statistical play is technically still on. Okay, so now please do mind that it is a 3-day chart. Okay, so this is every single move takes a long time for it to be realized. For example, here this 3-day candle is not going to end for another day and 18 hours. So it does take a bit of time for this to reflect that the movements of the 3-day period. Right, so upon that backtest, we actually took note of 10 iterations, of which 7 were guessed correctly, towards the upside. Okay, so that gives us an averaged upside accuracy of 70%, with an averaged upside thrust of 4,347%, and over the span of about 84 days. Okay, so this is just please know that these are statistical variances. They are not certainties whatsoever. We have to evaluate the potentials within these moves, right? So, I mean, for example, one of these iterations, just you have a 500% move over here, right? You have a 200% move over here upon the same criteria that we're literally in right now. You have a 700% move over here. You have just some massive ones as well. Just there's a lot of variable. It's just that's why I need to express to you just how important it is to understand that there are several variances within this statistical backtest, and that 4,000% move is just the mean, right? So in this case, if we were to apply that 4,000% move to the upside, we can easily see a touch of about $1.6643, which lands in confluence with a lot of areas of previously used supports and resistances. Just go ahead and move on to the last part of this analysis. So this is actually going to be the divergence. Okay, so divergence is the opposition of price action versus momentum. So in this case, momentum represented by this indicator, RSI, sorry, and this is relative strength index. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we have now confirmed a new pivot. So that gives us, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, is there a sixth in there somewhere? No, there's not. But this gives us five drives of hidden bullish divergence and phantom hidden bullish divergence. So that actually happens when you have momentum making a series of lower lows and price action making a series of higher highs. Okay, so this is still looking pretty good, and we have confirmed that. That doesn't mean that we're going to move on to the moon from here. It does, however, mean that the upside is starting to become a little more probable. Okay, so there is a little something to notice here too that I actually just noticed myself, that there is some type of regression happening here as well. So it may actually still be respecting that regression for us to continue to the upside. Okay, so let's go ahead and now open up a multi-pane so that we can gain a deeper edge for the coming sessions, of course. So we're gonna start it off like always on the 30-minute. Okay, so the 30-minute RSI is suggesting a continuation to the downside. However, it is in this border between the bear weakness percentile and the bull weakness percentile. Okay, so let me just go ahead and pull up a diagram for you guys, as I would like for you guys to take a look at this as we talk about this. As we talk about the analysis, right? Here we go. Perfect. Okay, focusing on these four zones as they are located right over here on the chart. Okay, all of these. All right, so yeah, the immediate short term is, like I said, right smack in the middle, in the border between the bear weakness and the bull weakness. Okay, so that usually means that we can be pressured right back into the bear weakness. But please know, like this iteration here, let me just go ahead and zoom in just a little. Please notice this iteration here, right when we dove into the bear weakness, we were still in the shallow areas of the bear weakness, which means that we can still be gravitated right back in. Okay, so as long as we do maintain ourselves within the shallow areas of either zones, we can be trapped in this limbo, similar to what COSM is doing and something very similar to GTII as well. Okay, so now the bi-hourly time frame is suggesting a continuation to the downside. We do have a support from the 14-day moving average, which is represented by this pink line. There is a support there, okay, but I can't say that it's going to be strong enough, because if you notice where the support is landing, it's actually in the deep areas of the bear weakness percentile, meaning that it's that gravitational zone. We can actually be pulled right back into that strength of the bears. Okay, so 6-hour time frame, we're collecting our puzzle pieces. The thesis comes right at the end, of course. So so now the 6-hour time frame is still suggesting a downside. 14-day moving average is above us, which is typically bearish, and also suggesting a slight downside as well. It is not the downside is not quite as aggressive as this here, or even this, you know. So this likely looks like it's losing strength from the bears little by little. Okay, so the daily time frame is actually pretty curious, because there is an upside suggestion on this, so which now makes me want to take a look at the buy daily. Let's see, buy daily is actually in the grips of the bull weakness, which is good. We do have an upside suggestion, and as we move closer into the deeper areas of the bull weakness percentile, we're going to be in this gravitational zone, which usually means that we can possibly succeed the 14-day moving average. We'll move above it, and hopefully then we could convert it into a support, so then we can use it as that support, and then a continuation to the upside. So 3-day is suggesting an upside as well. I would like for the pivot to be a little stronger, but the position of the RSI signal is very interesting here. Okay, so please make sure that you know that the RSI signal is the purple line, We're in the deep areas of the bull weakness percentile, which means that we're in that gravitational zone, so we can face an upside continuation here as well. So yeah, there is still some upside that this asset is actually giving us, starting from the 12 hour, which actually now tells me that there is a higher potential that we can see downside almost all day tomorrow, followed by a recovery, which is very much in line with this pennant. It could very well be that we capitulate down to the 3 cent level, about 365, or like I said, around between 330 and 365, around there, 380. We can actually see some type of reaccumulation here before another bounce and continuation to the upside. But it looks like we may be stuck in this range until we approach maybe the 70% to the apex of this triangle, okay, where it's typically found to break out. Okay, so very interesting things happening here, but it's slow moving right now, and it looks like CLNV is still a little pensive over some things, but it's no problem. It's following the trading, it's following the trading rules pretty nicely. Okay, so I just wanted to go ahead and update everybody with CLNV, as I haven't done so in the last couple of days. Please know I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos is just a form of entertainment, as I can't suggest for you to buy or sell any assets. Okay. So if you need to reach out to me, I'll go ahead and leave the links in the description below for you to consider joining the trading community in Discord called ARCa. Twitter is also there. You can come by and say hi. I know that it's been taking me a little bit of time to respond to everybody, but please know that I'm trying my very best, as the comments and messages are actually pouring in a little bit of a higher volume than I've ever been used to in my life. Okay, you guys, so just know that I am actually looking out for all of you, and I hope to hear from you. And I do, if I'm not responding, I do see your comments, I do see your messages, and I see everybody being so kind. Thank you so much for all of your support. Let's go ahead and continue the program. And yeah, but with that said, I wish you well, a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.